Growing up, I've always been kind of stubborn, adamant to change if it means making me uncomfortable and making my chest area a little warm. So because of that, I wasn't very disciplined, never motivated to try new hobbies, and I would give up on anything the moment I wasn't immediately good at it. At some point, I became aware of this, and I wasn't too proud, but it was so ingrained into me that it was hard to change this about myself. And for a majority of my teens, I would fall into vices, comfort, bad habits, and I was just so unhappy with myself. I had this certain image of who I wanted to be in my head, but it was hard to change into that person due to my bad habits. I needed mental toughness. To get to where I wanted, I needed to develop a resilient mind to push me through anything. And especially after high school, I wanted to challenge myself and finally become this person who I thought I could be. I wanted to challenge myself, so I would put myself into uncomfortable situations and try to find a way out. I promised myself I would do anything just to get a little closer to the person I wanted to be. Which brings us to the first tip that has helped me. You gotta start by building small wins within yourself. You gotta have some sort of trust for yourself. It's the same as when you're trying to build a relationship with someone else, but you can't be so out of touch with yourself that you don't even trust yourself into doing the things you say you're gonna do, because mentally your subconscious is listening to that. And when you're always lying to yourself, you already know that you're not gonna be capable of getting yourself through the things that you want to get out of. Does that make sense? If you say you're gonna get up at 7 a.m., then get up at 7 a.m. Otherwise, you're only hurting yourself by not doing so, because that trust within yourself diminishes. And now the next time you say you're gonna do something, you're probably not gonna do it. And then with that trust, you gotta build small wins on top of each other and start stacking them into proof that you are who you say you are. And it doesn't have to be big. You can start small and gradually build your way up. But it's just by doing the little things that you tell yourself you're gonna do. Making your bed, making your own food, going for that run that you said you're gonna go on. Because when you realize how powerful your words are to your own self-conscious, you can start being more selective about what you're gonna say and start building that mental discipline to do what you gotta do. I haven't been as disciplined with myself as I'd like to be. I guess now that I have so much options around me to just relax, I think I'm choosing that. Maybe not deliberately, but it's the moment I think I can just, relax, you know? And then I can't get out of it. It wasn't until only recently did I catch myself being in this rut of achieving nothing and just lazing around watching YouTube all day because I didn't feel good internally. And I realized I wasn't really doing the things I say I was gonna do. But now that I've caught myself again, I'm trying to watch more about what I say. And instead, when I think of doing something, I just do it instead of just thinking about it too much. Because sometimes you'll have a tendency to either overthink it or just talk about doing it and then not actually doing it. But by building up these little wins, little by little, I'm sure I can get back on track, and I will. Tip number 2 is to seek discomfort. So constantly challenge yourself and do things you don't think you can. Because sometimes all it takes is for you to actually do something and realize that it wasn't as hard as you imagined it. A lot of the times we lose before we even try in our heads. At least that was one of my biggest pitfalls when I was boxing. And it's still something I'm always working on to improve upon. But whenever leading up to a fight, especially the day of, it's easy to overthink your way into losing before you even step in the ring, because you think this guy is like this, or you think you won't be able to do something. But a lot of the times with your fears, all it takes is for you to actually confront them and to face them. And it kind of goes back to the first tip, and it's to prove to yourself that you can do these things. Man, it's getting real dark now. A lot of the times the fear will paralyze us and we don't end up actually being able to confront what we need to confront. So whatever it is that you find uncomfortable, whatever it is that gets your chest area all warm, uncover it and see if it really is what you make it out to be. It's like how in Scooby-Doo when they find the culprit and they take it off and it's just their science teacher or something. Building confidence is the same way, and it's just facing your fears, because you can't run from it forever, and at some point you'll have to face it. One of the things that I was always afraid of was actually just talking to people and not getting so anxious when I do so. So after high school, when I moved out for college into a completely unknown city to me, at some point I would have to step out of that comfort zone and actually talk to people. And then when I actually went to university, I wanted to face the fear of just being me, just not being afraid of looking stupid in front of people. And thank God I had this YouTube thing, because that was my excuse to just look stupid. And now the last tip I got, which I think is the most important, because the 2 other tips wouldn't really matter without this one, and it's to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. But if you want. But no, it's to become a failure. Embrace becoming a failure. This kind of ties back to the second tip, and it's to face your fear over and over again without actually being fearful. I've said that word too many times. I'm going to stop saying it now. Stop worrying so much about the results, about the outcome, and just learn how to like the process a lot more. Really embody whatever it is that you're pursuing, and Start becoming that person without having to worry about all your shortcomings, about what people's got to say about you, because none of that matters when you're in that process of becoming who you are. Failure is discomfort. Embrace that. Again, you don't want to lose before you even start. So the fear of failing is going to keep you stagnant in the pursuit. Obviously, it sucks to fail. Obviously, you don't want to, but it's gonna happen. And when it happens, it shouldn't become such a big shock to you that you just stop doing what you gotta do to get to the next step. Because, oh, what if I fall again? What if he laughs at me? You are a failure already. It's a lose-lose situation. You fail no matter what. But at least you can fail as steps leading up to where you need to be, rather than being so afraid that you're always stuck on square one. And I'm cold. I wanna go inside. But guess what? The fear of failure, the fear of getting cold does not bother me. I'm lying, my hands are pretty cold. I think no matter what you do, no matter how many times you can actually take all these tips into account and work them to perfection, you're always gonna have this feeling that you're not good enough, that you're gonna have this feeling of fear that you might fail. And I used to think you had to get rid of all these feelings, but maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point isn't to completely rid yourself of all your problems, of all your fears, but it's to get better and build that muscle, that mental strength to keep pushing on in spite of these fears, in spite of these shortcomings. Wow, I don't know if you could see that, but that is beautiful over there. It's really scary looking clouds. You can't be afraid to look like a fool. I used to always be afraid of looking like a fool. But again, going back to when I was in university, by accepting that I am a fool, embracing it, I think it can make you into a better student. You can't pretend like you know it all. You can't pretend like you're the smartest one in the room when you're not. And there's a lot more benefits to being a fool than trying to seem like you're the grandmaster and you know everything. I was always afraid to be myself growing up because I didn't want to look dumb. I didn't want people to look at me and think I was stupid. Little did I know, I already look stupid to them regardless of how I act. So if I'm gonna look stupid anyways, at least let me look stupid like how I want to look stupid, you know? In today's day and age, mental toughness is needed more than ever. You've got comfort all around you. Easy hits of dopamine to make you feel like you've accomplished something, and overall comfort to make your life as easy as possible. Not only that, but you're rewarded for that comfort instead of learning to overcome these obstacles. The more you stay in this comfort zone, the more mentally weak you will become, and the more vices you'll need to cling on to. But by doing the things you say and building a reputation within yourself, you can slowly start to seek that discomfort and start becoming who you're meant to be. You fear less of the outcome of your efforts and won't limit yourself to who you are right now. And you have the ability to push yourself out of anything. I've not reached where I want to be yet, and I've still got lots to learn, and I don't think I've faced my biggest challenge yet. But by implementing these little tips, I think can help build up that mental toughness that you will need when that time comes. They say it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a battlefield. And I think that rings true with mental toughness.